Yes, and welcome.
Thank you.
Firstly, I'd just like to acknowledge the amazing job that Lifeline does in crisis support. I'm sure the organisation has gained a significant increase in call volume. Can you share how the year has been for you?
Look, it's been a tough year, but it's been a good year as well. I suppose it's calls to our service have gone up nearly 35% across the pandemic, which has been an amazing thing to watch from an internal perspective. We started the year with 8 volunteers in our organisation, and we now have just over 100. So, and we have 35 part-time and casual staff. We had 2 casual staff when I started, so it's been. We were looking at growing the business, but I don't think we envisaged we would grow it as quickly as we have. So it's been an amazing year.
And it started with the bushfires, didn't it?
It really did. I started in the role in January, and the bushfires had occurred a couple of weeks previously, and we had already sort of envisaged training some extra people to look after. We would suspect an increase in bushfire calls, which we did have in February, and then and COVID hit in March, and it was sort of a bit of a double whammy in March and April, and we had a bit of a lull in June when we came out of the first lockdown, which was good. We sort of took half a breath like everybody did, and sort of revamped a few bits and pieces internally, but then obviously it started again, and we've just kept training people for the whole year.
And do you think that level of volume will stay as it is, or do you think that that's going to recede next year?
Look, I think we're anticipating that there'll be some other crucial times in the next 6 to 12 months. Obviously with JobKeeper and JobSeeker and things like that will dissipate sometime in the first 6 months of next year, that we'll see some increases again. So we expect that the volunteer rate will dip a little bit with people probably returning to work. But having said that, we've also got some extra government support, so we'll probably keep our part-time and casual staff at pretty much what we're at levels we're at now. We've got some good partnerships with Deakin University now, so we see the influx of volunteers through placement programs. I think we're going to continue. The anticipation is by the middle of next year we'll have 150 volunteers in the service.
Now I've got a technical question. It doesn't quite fit into the HR side. How does Lifeline divvy up the phone calls? Is that a simple answer?
Yeah, look, it's basically a national service, so it's sort of next in line. So while we do answer local calls, we answer calls from across Australia in our centre. So basically, it's the next in line. So you basically on a phone call, you put yourself on if you're ready to go, and you would answer the next phone call. You might have a break after one phone call for 10 or 15 minutes, so you wouldn't be on the system. And basically, it's just a rotating system across the nation. So the call answer rate this year has gone from 80% to 93%, so which is amazing when you think that that's 1.2 million calls we're answering every year across Lifeline.
That's incredible. Now, in terms of the key HR initiatives, did all in the Lifeline office go home? Did you change your call centre to a remote call centre? Did it remain with less staff present? How did you manage that?
All the admin staff went home, but we were luckily enough classed as an essential service for the call centre, so the call centre remained. But that posed some interesting scenarios, obviously cleaning the facility, looking after the facility. The admin staff weren't there to keep an eye on things, so it was sort of getting remote meetings organised with volunteers and with the crisis supporters. So it posed some challenges to start with, like all businesses. But we suspect it would have been a lot harder if we weren't able to keep it in the centre itself. So we were lucky to have that.
You also highlighted the psychological safety of workers was of a prime concern. Of course, crisis support workers, they need to be quite strong and resilient themselves. What were some of the things that the organisation did to support the crisis supporters?
Yeah, look, I think the model that we use, there's a lot of self-care and there's also a lot of peer support in that model. So we were doubly supportive of the fact that they were not only looking after themselves, but obviously looking after lots of extra and different types of people in crisis through the pandemic. So there was lots of professional development sessions, mentor sessions. We do call coaching. There's a lot of support from other centres as well. So we really made sure that we put that into train early in the pandemic, thinking that it might be a 2 or 3 month scenario, but we've been able to continue that on. So that's been a worthwhile addition to the model.
Workforce planning. Obviously, with the number, was it 8 volunteers at the start of the year?
To start with, yes.
I don't think you had that as part of your mandate.
No.
How did that play out in terms of knowing that you'd have to go from a small contingent to quite significant in a very short period of time?
There was a lot of headaches, a lot of nightmares. There was a lot of long days in terms of planning. But look, I think we've got some good people around, some operational people who we've been able to engage as well and recruit. One of which was recruited through your organisation as well. So that helped in terms of us planning and making sure that we could have a continuation. It was really important for us to go, let's not get 30 or 40 volunteers and paid staff now and then let them drain out and have to redo that. Retention was really important for us. So it's been a case of making sure that we put the plan in place and then also followed through on support and making sure that they felt like that they were supported in the role. So that's been an important part of it.
And you've come from a range of not-for-profit and community sector organisations. What do you think the difference is at Lifeline?
I think the thing that I've found the most is that the brand is so strong that people have a great understanding about what we do and how we do it. The model is so strong for our volunteers and our crisis supporters that they come in and they get a great understanding about it in a short space of time and then are able to relay that into practice. So, I think, and it's safety in numbers in terms of there's 40 Lifeline centres across Australia and there's always somebody to help, I think, internally as well, which is I think is a fantastic trait of the organisation.
So what's in store for 2021 if it's been such a big 2020?
Yeah, look, I think we've got a centre in Warrnambool as well, so it's really important for us to get some continuity between both. It's a different type of centre in Warrnambool to it is in Geelong. It's always going to be a smaller centre. We always had growth plans for Geelong, so I think it's probably take a breath, hopefully, early in the new year, but certainly engage the community a lot more in Geelong. We had some good plans in terms of how we were going to get out and talk to people and make sure we got some partnerships and some collaboration going. We've been able to do that anyway, but it's not the same as sort of face-to-face, I suppose, interaction. So we're looking at doing that over the next 12 months and making sure that supports our strategy and how we support the community.
Are we going to see any major changes to how that crisis support is delivered? It's been mainly a phone line.
Yeah, look, other centres use face-to-face counselling, and I think we will in some. We've been lucky enough to receive some funding to roll a pilot out in Colac next year, which will be important. We also, and part of the planning will be to have it in Geelong as well. We don't anticipate that we're going to become a psychological expert, but to fill the gap or to fill the need in the short term from a crisis support, we think is really important. So that's probably the biggest project for early next year is some face-to-face counselling.
Yeah, well, we look forward to seeing you out and about in the new year as the face of Lifeline in Geelong and regional Victoria.
No, thanks for your support, and we look forward to continuing a great partnership and collaboration in the future.
Thanks so much, Jason.
Thanks, Maree.